This is a special event. It is the Heisman Trophy of defense. It is the award that gives back to a side of the ball that doesn't get as much glory. Thank you, Charlotte.
What a high level of excellence Bronco Nagurski brought to the game. He's an inspiration to anyone who loves the game of football.
My football story is not about playing for the Carolina Panthers. My football story is from the time I was 5 years old, all I ever wanted to do was play for Wayne Hills High School in northern New Jersey.
I was a part of something, and the purpose of what we were working for was greater than any one of us.
We come out every day to compete, and the only way we can get better is we, compete against each other hard.
It's important to note that sometimes the signs that we ask for are right there in front of us. Win or lose, there was always a message in there. It's about what we do with the adversity we face.
You can have a dream, but you better be prepared for that opportunity.
It's a lot of hard work. I mean, it's nothing is given. I mean, you have to earn everything.
Honored to be here today. You do such wonderful work. The funds you raise for scholarships around the area, that's wonderful.
A very heartfelt thank you to members of the Touchdown Club for your support of 16,000 plus students who you all are impacting annually. Studies show that GPAs and graduation rates are higher, absences and dropout rates are lower.
What I've learned in my life is you can accomplish anything in this world. If you want to do something bad enough, you'll find a way.
But it's important that everybody in this room and beyond understands that it starts with us. You see these kids on the come up, you gotta let them know.
Football was a gladiator sport. Only gladiators play football.
Tonight, you are going to get a glimpse of excellence of our finalists and what they have brought to this game. Their dedication, passion, and brute strength, along with their ability to make key plays during crucial moments in big games.
Growing up around the game, I have a deep and abiding respect for those who have paved the way. Bronco Nagurski was a true pioneer of our game.
Many people will tell you that you either love Notre Dame or you hate Notre Dame. And no matter where you come down on that, I think all of us true sports fans can take a step back of who we really support and teams that we may not like and see who deserves your ultimate admiration and respect. And Brian Kelly, before people knew Brian Kelly, was winning national championships and leading teams to undefeated seasons. He did it at Grand Valley State when he was there in the 90s and early 2000s. He then went to Central Michigan and reintroduced them to what it was like to be conference champions. He went to Cincinnati, a school that seemingly hadn't won forever, multiple conference championships, and yes, an undefeated, perfect regular season. So what he accomplished this season, what his team and his assistant coaches accomplished with him this season, getting a lot of recognition, and I'm sure he's enjoying it, but this is not something that's brand new to him. He has been there before. He brought his team to a perfect 12-0 season, and a trip to the BCS National Championship game against Alabama awaits. Please welcome to the stage our keynote speaker tonight, the head coach of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, Brian Kelly.
Thank you, my friends from ACN. It is a pleasure to be here in Charlotte. I think it's important to be a good public speaker. You got to know your room, first of all. And it sounds like we've got some Notre Dame fans, so I won't make this a Notre Dame infomercial, but I will say that it is great. It is an honor for me to be the head football coach at the University of Notre Dame and get an opportunity to bring our football team back to the national landscape of college football. Another distinction of a good public speaker is to know that it's 5 minutes to 9, and we've had a long day. And I really want to begin by thanking the Charlotte Touchdown Club and the Bronco Nagurski Foundation for what you do locally. You are a chronicle of what we're seeing tonight and who we're honoring tonight with these 5 incredibly gifted defensive players. We've seen the sacks, we've seen the defensive highlights, But as we've brought up each award winner tonight, you've learned a little bit about the young men in this community. And all of their traits are wrapped into each one of our finalists tonight. Now, I know Manti Te'o personally because I've been with him for the 3 years at Notre Dame. But each one of our finalists tonight have the same qualities that have been talked about tonight in terms of being committed to their team, in terms of overcoming adversity. We saw Micah and the injury that he came back from, and BJ and Connor and what they have done. These young men, these 5 finalists, are more than a highlight reel. Each one of them represents greatness at the university, because they're not here tonight just because of stats. They're here because they are great teammates. So what makes a great teammate? Well, let me tell you, first of all, that the commitment that these young men have to make, the things that they have to give up in their life to have an opportunity for greatness. They can't do the things that other students can do on a day-to-day basis. They're either in the library, they're either studying, or they're committing themselves to being the best football players they can be. They must sacrifice. They come in June, the first week in June, and they're here until January. They don't get a break. They don't get a chance to be 18 and 19 and 20 and 21. They also have to lead. They have to be great leaders. Coach Fisher from Florida State talked about the greatness that he's seen amongst his players, the great ones, is that they raise their level and bring others with them. At Notre Dame, we call that the A-team. To get on the A-team, you've got to be able to raise the level of all of those players around. Those 5 finalists tonight have those traits. They raise the level of the players around them. That's what makes them great players. And they're also doing it in the locker room, where the team is built. Each and every year, a football team is built in that locker room. The camaraderie, the trust, the leadership, the character, all of that plays out in that locker room. And all of these young men are integral to that. So yes, we may look at how great they are physically, but they're great individually as well, or they wouldn't be up for this award. That's what makes this award special. That's why I wanted to be a presenter tonight. I wanted to be part of this event because, again, it chronicles all the things about the great student athletes that sometimes we just see it in the newspaper. So with that, as a coach, as coaches, whether it's Pop Warner or high school or college in the pros, we have a responsibility on our end as great teachers to give back to them as well. And all of our coaches at Notre Dame feel the same way about the player development that I do. Because the first thing that we owe our student athletes is intellectual development. Yes, they're there to get a degree first and foremost. Absolutely. Their career in the NFL is going to be short, but their degree is going to open up doors for them for the rest of their lives. So that's why it's so important that coaches today have a responsibility to develop their players intellectually and making sure they're doing the right things in the classroom to get to that level, to get to college, to get to that degree. The second thing that I think it's absolutely crucial that coaches and teachers and educators understand today at all levels is that you have a responsibility to develop your players spiritually as well. And at Notre Dame, they enter into a faith-based education. But as has been talked about earlier, as a Catholic university, one of our great leaders on our campus is a Mormon in Manti Te'o. My point is, it's not necessarily about your faith, it's about your spiritual growth. And you saw that today with these young men. What did they do today? They spent time with kids because they're other-centered. They think about others equally and really first on a day-to-day basis. That is a spiritual development. Through community service, you can grow spiritually. Certainly you can grow through your own faith. And having the availability of that on a day-to-day basis is a responsibility for teachers and educators. And I'm not here to talk about church and state. I'm here to talk about the individual spiritual growth that can be absolutely crucial to the development of the young men that are in your care. I think it's absolutely crucial that they develop socially as well. And having a good traditional value background for them to lean on. Accountability, responsibility, holding them to those levels on a day-to-day basis. The same traditional values that I'm sure all the parents espouse in those homes, coaches and teachers and educators need to espouse those on a day-to-day basis as well. That's an obligation as a teacher and as a coach. If we're going to ask them to play for us on Saturdays, then we've got to give something back to them as well. It's not a one-way street. And now, understanding that the young men that I get have a great background, and all of our finalists tonight have that great character background. And it was a mentor, it was a parent, it was a pastor. Somebody touched their life. And it could be somebody in this room that touches that life, that gives them that opportunity to grow socially. I think it's absolutely crucial that there's that development physically as well. And that physical development today, for me, going on my 22nd year of being a head coach, is no longer about bigger, faster, stronger. I think everybody understands the weight training and the conditioning and the year-round commitment that's necessary. Developing physically today is understanding how important it is to take care of your own body. But what you put into it is going to give you the results. Whether it's great hydration, whether it's getting rest, whether it's making sure your nutrition and diet is going to give you the optimal opportunity to be the best you can be. As coaches, as teachers, as educators, as parents, keep an eye on the physical development and don't get carried away with the next great weight training exercise. It's absolutely crucial as a core, but what you put in your body is going to make a bigger difference in the long run. And I think today we have an obligation to develop the skill of each one of the young men that play this game. And not get caught up in the schematics and the X's and O's, but think about the skill development of the individuals. That means you need to be a great teacher, a great communicator, somebody that can take somebody and develop their skill on a day-to-day basis. So as these young men commit themselves to their university and commit themselves to being the best they can be, we have an obligation in return to give them something back. In intellectual development, in spiritual development, social, physical, and skill. I believe that's the mandate of all coaches, teachers, and educators as it relates to this great game of football. The Touchdown Club of Charlotte has already shown how important those principles are by awarding the deserving candidates. The 5 young men you hear tonight have all those principles as well. There'll be one winner tonight. That's how these things go. But they are all winners because they have all of the traits necessary to be champions. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you tonight. Go Irish!
Thank you very much, Coach. And as a 41-year-old former student athlete, I can speak from experience, and millions could echo the same thoughts. Everything he talked about a university and the coaching staff giving back to the student athletes, you may not know it when you're 21 or 22, but as you get to be a more advanced adult, you will certainly feel and realize all those lessons that Coach talked about. Great message.